Maybe I like old Taiwan. I'd love to slow it down a little bit because I think 10 years from now, Taiwan might one day become unrecognizable to what I once knew Taiwan to be. I know Taiwan on a very, very intimate level. Like maybe you've heard of it, Taiwan, Taiwan. It was a whole news thing that was on. My name is Cole Fogel. I have a YouTube channel that's Da Hu easy for the locals to remember. I'm from Canada, Toronto, Canada, and I've lived in Taiwan for, wow, since 1999. About 24, 25 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, on and off though.
Are you a Taiwanese?
I think I'm a Taiwanese in many regard because I grew up here like in my 20s. So I would say like I probably have some like like some mannerisms like Taiwanese, I think. And oh, 不好意思, my politeness etiquette is very Taiwanese, I would say. But I still have a Canadian side to myself as well.
Being here for that long, I didn't need to ask, can you speak Chinese, I guess.
So I'm sad to say I don't speak Chinese very well. And there is a bit of a background to it, but it's partially an excuse and partially fact. When I was in school, I really struggled with learning French. So language was always a challenge for me. So like even all these years of being here, I know many words. I know how to communicate in almost like a kindergarten level, I would say. I have started studying, but I do find the language very difficult. It is something that prevents me sometimes from being able to have deep conversations with the locals, which I would like to do more. So I would say my Chinese is 一点点.
They say it even gets harder as you grow older.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, like I didn't really put much effort into it when I first arrived in 1999. And then when I started my YouTube channel, I realized how important it was to me to speak the language. So I started studying now at the age of 46, 45, 46. So now I would definitely say I agree with you. It's a very hard language. Your ability to learn new things becomes more challenging as you get older.
Especially language, yeah.
And language, so I'm trying. But my wife, who's Taiwanese, speaks English exceptionally well, and we've always communicated in English. And now I'm kind of pushing her, like, baby, speak Chinese to me, I need to practice.
Okay, Jiayo.
Jiayo.
You know a lot about the culture. What part of Taiwanese culture do you find very fascinating?
Probably the temple culture. In Canada, we have a lot more Christianity and Judaism. We have some Buddhism in Canada, but I think here it's much more prevalent, you know, like the Taoist stuff, burning ghost money and all the different festivals. And my favorite thing would be like the Madzu marches, the pilgrimages. Has a very family kind of vibe. Like when you're there with all those people, you feel like you're a big family kind of celebrating some of the festivals here. So I would say, yeah, the Buddhist traditions. I really do understand the culture on a very deep level. I really do love Taiwan on a very deep level. And I guess I want to say though, putting aside that I want to learn the language more deeply, you really can know a country without language. There is an unspoken sort of energy that you can take in from wherever you live that goes beyond language, in my opinion. And so I guess I would like to say, I know Taiwan on a very, very intimate level. I understand the people outside of words. Like you really do, after years and years living somewhere, you can take in body language and you can take in energy from people around you and your surroundings. So you can know a culture deeply even without the language, although the language is quite useful.
Going back, what is the main reason why you decided to stay in Taiwan this long?
Well, Canada just said, we don't accept you. No, I'm kidding. Initially, when I first came here, my sister was living here. And then I got kind of homesick after about a year. I went home. And then I came back again because I missed Taiwan, because that happens when you live in Taiwan. And I met my wife my second year here. So definitely my wife being Taiwanese, and I have 2 boys now. So grandma and grandpa are here. And of course I have family in Canada, but grandma and grandpas of Taiwan are the best because they'll literally step in anytime you need them. They're just always there and always, I mean, at least my experience, and always supportive. So I love my mother and father-in-laws support they give me with our children. Hot weather, I guess, would be another reason why I stay in Taiwan. It's a safe place to raise children is another reason. And it's cheaper. It's a cheaper place to live. It's not as cheap as it was in 1999. And the economy is definitely booming and yeah, prices are going up. But it's still a cheaper place to rent a house and to own a car and all of those things, those necessities in life.
From your circle in Canada, how well is Taiwan known?
I mean, at one time, people would have been like, Thailand, Taiwan, like they would confuse like just Taiwan as Thailand, like they wouldn't, or many people would assume that Taiwan is part of China, which is kind of a heated topic, obviously. But I think with recent news that you hear on CNN and things like that, I think people are starting to realize in the West that Taiwan and China are separate nations, and they can see some of the feuding going on because it's on CNN right now, I think, or on the major news stations. I think during the pandemic especially, Taiwan kind of became an example of how to deal with a pandemic more efficiently. And so I would say the pandemic has given a lot of awareness to the world and to Canada of what is Taiwan. And I remember we have this one Canadian politician, it's burned in my head, and he was having a conversation with another politician about Taiwan, and maybe some of you have seen this, and he said, he was trying to get the guy to acknowledge Taiwan being a separate sovereign place. And he's like, maybe you've heard of it, Taiwan, Taiwan. It was a whole news thing that was on. So I think because of the news, people are very aware of where is Taiwan now, yeah.
If you are to introduce any Canadian culture to Taiwanese, what part of Canadian culture would you?
Wow. I mean, we're very polite, but I feel like Taiwanese and Canadian are kind of similar that way. Yeah, we say sorry for everything. We're like, sorry, sorry, sorry. Like it's stereotypical, but it's true. I'm trying to be funny about Canadians, but well, God, maple syrup. Not to sound stereotypical, but you can buy it at Costco. It comes in a jug. It's called maple syrup. It comes from a maple tree, and to me, it is the yummiest sweetener that you could put on anything. It tastes better than sugar. It's up there with honey. For someone Taiwanese who's never tried food outside of Taiwanese food, there's some really good Canadian-owned restaurants in Kaohsiung or in other parts of Taiwan. Try some Canadian food. Like, we have really good sandwiches that are delicious. If you ever get a chance to watch a hockey game on TV, it's an exciting sport where they play on the ice with sticks and a puck. If you like basketball, you would love hockey. So I would say check out a hockey game if you get a chance.
If you are to change anything in Taiwan, what would it be?
You know, Taiwan is trying very hard to be international, which I think is beautiful. I'd like to slow it down a little bit. Maybe I like old Taiwan. When I say old Taiwan, I mean Taiwan is really growing up very quickly these days, you know, just technologically, and there's something beautiful about old Taiwan that I love. I'd love to slow it down a little bit because I think 10 years from now, Taiwan might one day become unrecognizable to what I once knew Taiwan to be. But that being said, I also like the fact that they're embracing other cultures like myself. They're being influenced by outside countries. And I guess I would just say, be mindful of what you're influenced by and take the good influences and try to discard the bad. Because Taiwan, you're awesome without any influence, in my opinion. But, you know, we have days where the air quality is not as good as it could be. But I think that is already starting to change slowly. So there was one thing that's always on my mind, mianzi, losing face, which is a very deeply ingrained sort of part of Taiwanese culture. I think if you let go the concern about losing face, allow people to laugh at you sometimes and know that it's okay to make mistakes and don't be embarrassed about mistakes that could be made. So I guess, yeah, in order to be a completely authentic human being, I think we need to let go of how we think people are going to see us and let our true selves shine through. And I think maybe the mianzi, the losing face, might prevent some really remarkable people from sharing their true selves. So I would change that about the culture, is that be yourself. Don't worry about how the people around you are going to look at you. Come from a place of love, obviously. Don't do things to hurt people. I don't mean that when I say be yourself, go around hurting people, but don't be afraid to show your true self and be authentic, shine your light. I guess is what I would say. Just that one thing, I guess, is a big key one for me.
What advice would you give to someone who wishes to come to Taiwan?
If you're young, like in your 20s, don't make the mistake I made and not study Chinese. Make sure you study Chinese when your brain is really good at retaining this kind of information, because language is very challenging. That being said, many people speak English here, and we have Google Translate and Google Maps, I should say, that allow you to find your way around, because when I arrived in Taiwan, there was no smartphone. So I had to use real maps and get lost all the time. Now you can just program it. It's just come with an empty stomach, because the food is really good. But be mindful, the food can also be rather fattening. So try to cook at home if you're going to live here. Don't eat out every day, but enjoy the food. Enjoy the kindness and the love and the support that the people give you here, I would say.
You seems like a very active person of this age. What's the secret behind this?
The secret behind me being 46 and being physically fit is, well, not wanting to get old quickly. And I think when you're my age, if you sit around and you don't exercise, it's very easy to age quickly, I think. So I've always been active. I've always loved running and walking and hiking and cycling. So I guess that's my secret. And I eat very healthy. So I would say I'm very, very mindful of how I eat. And I'm very mindful of exercise. But I also think the mind ages you as well. And I do a lot of meditation, which slows me down. And I think I really do believe meditation actually slows the aging process down, because your cells slow down. So I do the exercise to get my heart rate up, and I do the meditation to get my heart rate down, and I think that creates kind of a healthy balance. And I guess that would be my secret of healthiness in my life. I wouldn't say the average elderly person is doing much other than maybe some walking. Whereas I find elderly people in Taiwan, they go hiking still, they wake up every morning, a lot of them, and they do Tai Chi, and they do Qigong, and you see them in the parks, and you even see them like with badminton rackets, hitting the birdie back and forth. I think the elderly people here, they do stay a lot more movement, more activity, versus the elderly people in Canada. Maybe we have these harsher winters where you just don't want to move around as much. And I think the cold weather ages people. I think the heat and the humidity in Taiwan keeps you young for longer.
So about the YouTube thing, why do you start a YouTube channel?
So ever since I was a little boy, I've always loved performing. And I was always in drama class, and I was always in school plays. And then ultimately I went to school for radio, television, film, broadcasting, and didn't do anything with what I did in school. And then one day I was like, you know what? I think I should start a YouTube channel. And that was the beginning of my channel, which was about 3 years ago.
There are so many media companies in Taiwan. Have you thought of joining any?
I did do one kind of news report on ICRT. Other than ICRT, I've done a few TV spots like Wow Taiwan in Taipei. But no, I just always felt like doing my own thing would be the best, because then you can create it exactly the way you want it to be.
Channel links will be in the description below. Go check them out. Do you have anything else to tell Taiwanese people?
Yeah, other than just be yourselves, don't work so hard. I think this culture works really hard, and I think work is important, but make sure you play as much as you work. And I love how strong the people are when it comes to work, but sometimes I think the work culture takes over the personal life, and I think make sure you keep that separate. Have your work culture, but also have a thriving, exciting personal life as well, where you have adventures and you go out and explore Taiwan, because often the foreigners get to know Taiwan more than the locals, because when you live somewhere you just don't think to go to other cities and travel. So Taiwan is a small island. Travel is what I would say to the locals. Get out and travel. Taiwan has so much to offer that you might not know about, even being from here.
Hope you continue to enjoy your stay in Taiwan.
I will be here for my life, actually, I would say.
Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to click that subscription button, like the video, share if you can.
And I was just going to say one more thing. Welcome to Taiwan.